Hello everyone, welcome to Barca News. It is June 20th, 2023. It's reported that Barcelona are interested in signing Guido Rodriguez. Also, it's reported that Matteo Alemany has reached out to Espanyol's Sergi Darder. And finally, the Saudi Arabia could end up bringing back the Super League. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and before we begin with the news, just a quick reminder to make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It's completely free and only takes a second, and in doing this, you'll be helping this small and humble channel continue to grow. Also, if you are looking for any Barcelona jerseys or merchandise, make sure you hit the kickback. The link is down below in the description. And now we begin with the news that Xavi Hernandez has currently paused his vacation in order to meet with Matteo and Alemany and Deco, as Xavi was spotted today at the Barcelona Sporting Complex. As you might know, the entire first squad and Xavi Hernandez himself are currently on vacation after the conclusion of La Liga season. But Xavi Hernandez was spotted at the Sporting Complex, so it looks like the Barcelona coach has paused his vacation in order to address the serious concerns that Barcelona currently have in regards to their exits. Now, Barcelona need to offload players before they can sign any new ones, and it's reported that Barcelona really want to offload at least 1 to 2 players before June 30th, because that's when the fiscal year ends. So if Barcelona can close two exits before that day, they will be able to complete some of the operations that are currently pending. Now, Xavi Hernandez met with both Deco and Matteo Alemany in order to discuss these exits, and as I reported in yesterday's live stream, it looks like Samuel Umtiti and Clement Lenglet could become the first 2 players to leave the club, with Frankesi right behind them. But we're going to have to see how fast the club can act on these exits. Now, in regards to Frankesi, Barcelona do not want to rush his exit because he does have a really good market value, and Barcelona think that they can cash in on the transfer of the player. But in regards to Umtiti and Lenglet, the Barcelona are not as concerned about what kind of transfer fee they can get for these players, because after all, Barcelona have been trying to get rid of them for quite some time, and clearing their salaries off their wage bill would be a win big enough for the club that would allow Barcelona to complete some of the operations that are currently on hold. Now, speaking of possible exits, it's reported that Las Palmas are currently after 2 Barcelona players. Now, Las Palmas were a 2nd division team, and they just got promoted to the 1st division of La Liga, and they are currently led by no other than the former Barca Athletic coach, Garcia Pimienta. Now, Las Palmas just renewed Garcia Pimienta's contract, and the Spanish coach is looking to reinforce Las Palmas squad as they will be competing in the 1st division of La Liga. And it's reported that Las Palmas currently have their eyes on 2 Barcelona players, which are Arnau Tenas and Alex Collado. Now, Arnau Tenas has made it very clear that he wants to remain in Barcelona, and he is the future goalkeeper of the club. However, his contract does expire on June 30th, and Barcelona are yet to renew his contract. So it seems that Las Palmas are there ready to try to pounce and sign the goalkeeper, a goalkeeper who did learn a lot while under the tutelage of Garcia Pimienta, when Garcia Pimienta was the coach of Barca Athletic. Now, another player that really shined under Garcia Pimienta is Alex Collado, who seems Las Palmas are also interested in signing. And as you already know, Alex Collado is currently on loan, and he will be returning to the club this summer. But of course, Xavi Hernandez does not count on the player. Now, in regards to Alex Collado, I think this is good news because, again, Barcelona does not count on him, and he does have a contract with the club. So this could be a way for Barcelona not only to offload a player that they don't count on, but also a way to make money and clear space off their wage bill for the incoming new signings. But in the case of Arnau Tenas, I would hate to see the goalkeeper go because he is the future goalkeeper of Barcelona. And after all, his contract is set to expire in a few days. So if he does leave, he'd be leaving for free, and Barcelona would not be able to make any money. Now, speaking of offloading players in order to sign new ones, it's reported that Barcelona are currently interested in Real Betis' midfielder Guido Rodriguez. Now, Guido Rodriguez is a 29-year-old Argentinian midfielder who plays in the pivot position. And it's reported that Barcelona are considering him as an option for the pivot position to replace Sergio Busquets in case they cannot sign Sofiane Amrabat. Now, Xavi's two favorite options for the pivot position are, of course, Joshua Kimmich and Martin Zubimendi, two players who have made it very clear that they want to stay at their respective clubs. So the next man on the list is Sofiane Amrabat, but based on several reports as of late, looks like Barcelona might end up missing out on the signing of the Moroccan midfielder. Now, I did discuss other options that Barcelona are considering in case they can't sign Sofiane Amrabat, like Florentino Luis or even Joao Palhinha from Fulham. And it looks like Guido Rodriguez is also on this list. Now, Guido Rodriguez is the kind of player that Xavi Hernandez believes can adapt to the Barcelona style of play, especially since he plays for Real Betis, a team that really likes the possession of the ball just like Barcelona. And since Xavi Hernandez thinks that the player has characteristics that he likes to see in the pivot, such as the fact that Guido Rodriguez is physically strong and powerful, but can also drive the ball forward and knows how to position himself pretty well on the field. Now, Guido Rodriguez's contract with Real Betis will expire in the summer of 2024, and he's not renewing his contract. So Real Betis are looking to offload him during this summer, because if they don't offload him this summer, he will end up leaving for free next year. Now, speaking of possible candidates in case Barcelona cannot sign their main objective, it's reported that Barcelona have reached out to Sergi Darder's agent to see whether he could be a possible replacement in the interior position in case Ilkay Gundogan does not come to Barcelona. Now, it's reported that Ilkay Gundogan will be making a final decision in regards to his future during this week on whether he's going to be signing for Barcelona or renewing his contract with Manchester City. And Barcelona do have backup plans in case Ilkay Gundogan does not sign for Barcelona, such as Alex Baena. And it seems that another option that Barcelona have contemplated is Sergi Darder. Now, in case you don't know who Sergi Darder is, he's a 29-year-old midfielder who plays for Espanyol, and he currently has a 50 million euro release clause. But since Espanyol were relegated to the second division, that release clause goes down to 10 million euros, and as a result of this, it's reported that Matteo Alemany reached out to the player and his agent to see whether he'd be willing to come to Barcelona. Now, it's reported that Xavi Hernandez is not a fan of this idea because he doesn't think that Sergi Darder is good enough to play in Barcelona. And I personally agree with Xavi Hernandez because I think Sergi Darder is a mediocre player at best. Plus, he is a player from Espanyol, and as I've said many times before, I hate to see any players from Espanyol or Real Madrid playing in Barcelona, because that's not the kind of players you want at your club. Because you might say, yes, they are professional players and they're still going to play their best because they are getting paid to do so. But at the end of the day, when you don't love the club or you're not devoted to the club that you play with, that can make the difference of going that extra mile, especially during the difficult matches. Because at the end of the day, you're not really feeling the colors or the crest of the club. You're simply playing for a paycheck. Now, it seems that Barcelona are only considering this option kind of as a last resort option for the club. So if Barcelona cannot sign Ilkay Gundogan or all the other options that they're contemplating, that they could sign Sergi Darder. So for now, this is not a for sure thing. This is not something that Barcelona want to do. This is simply kind of a last resort option, and hopefully it does remain that way because I would hate to see an Espanyol player at the Camp Nou. Now, on to the news that Saudi Arabia are trying to bring back the Super League, or a version of the Super League, to the Gulf state nation. Now, in case you don't know by now, the Super League is a proposed seasonal league made up of 20 teams that would be the top 20 teams in Europe, so kind of like the Champions League, but instead it will be played like a normal league, so there will be matches every week. Now, the Super League was proposed by the 12 founding clubs. However, UEFA immediately threatened these clubs with not allowing them to play in the Champions League and with sanctions. So out of the 12 clubs, 9 of them withdrew, leaving only Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Juventus wanting to proceed forward with starting the Super League. Now, Juventus is reportedly will be withdrawing from the Super League as well, leaving only Barcelona and Real Madrid, the only 2 clubs who still want to move forward with the Super League. So for now, it looks like this league is not going to happen. However, it is caught up in litigation in European courts. So the success or the failure of the Super League can all depend on what these European courts rule. Well, now Saudi Arabia are reportedly trying to make up their own version of the Super League, and they're trying to have it in the Gulf state nation. And it's reported that Saudi Arabia met with John Laporta while he was touring the Middle East. and they proposed this Super League to Barcelona. Now, as I reported previously, Joan Laporta was seen in Qatar and in other Gulf states, and it's reported that he was there in order to drum up new sponsorship for the club so he can bring in an injection of cash to Barcelona. And apparently during one of these trips, the Saudi League president met with Joan Laporta, where he pitched this new version of the Super League that would see some of the top European clubs going to Saudi Arabia to play friendlies amongst each other and against the Saudi clubs in order to generate more media attention and revenue and try to further develop the Saudi League. Now, it's reported that Juventus have been pitched the same idea and they're very close to agreeing to this idea. And so far, we don't know what Barcelona's response is. All we do know that this idea was pitched to Joan Laporta and that he did hear and that Joan Laporta did hear what the Saudi League president had to say. So we're gonna have to see what will Barcelona's response will be. Now we'll end today's video with two brief updates. The first one is that Barca Athletic have officially offloaded Fabio Blanco to Villarreal B. Now, in case you don't know who Fabio Blanco is, he's a 19-year-old right winger who arrived with a lot of promise in Barca Athletic, but unfortunately he did not live up to the hype and promise. So Barcelona have officially offloaded him to Villarreal B. And it's reported that Barcelona have made 700,000 euros off this transfer. Now, the second update is that the Barcelona family have officially made their first signing and their first reinforcement of the summer, as they have signed Ona Batley. Now, Ona Batley is a 24-year-old fullback who normally plays as a right back, but she is so skilled that she can also play as a left back. And Ona Batley is someone that came up through La Masia. She arrived in La Masia in 2011 when she was only 12 years old, and she just spent the last 3 seasons at Manchester United. And now that her contract has expired with the Premier League club, the Barcelona family have signed her, and she is now back at what has always been her home. So that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a like. Also, I would like to invite all of you to please leave a comment down below, giving me all your thoughts and opinions about all the news that I share with you. And finally, I would like to invite all of you to please subscribe to the channel so you can stay current on all the latest news in regards to our beloved club, FC Barcelona. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video, and as always, Visca Barça.